Hey, Dr. Bob Flower here for your Friday, October 20th. Wow. October 20th, Master Pattern Report brought to you over our international Gilchrist TV station. Okay, so let's see how we're doing on some of these predictions. Silver, remember we had said, we've been saying pretty much the entire year about the metals making a move in September, and I checked on the charts from July 7th through September 7th. We saw an improvement of $2.42 in silver. It's a 16% increase from date to date. It's retraced a little bit since then, but we still feel positive that you're going to see a further move in the metals as we get towards the end of the year. Our call for October 11th was right on target for a market move, which happened to be an up move, and as those of you know who've been following us for the past 10 years, this is consistent. We have about a 94% accuracy rate on calling moves, larger moves, throughout the financial landscape. This new program that I've been talking to you about will be, we're going live with that next Tuesday, and we will, by the following week, which will be the beginning of November, we should have a damn good idea of the accuracy rate, and that's the one that shows directional moves. All right. And I just feel really good about that thing. I just hope that we have enough resources to keep on top of that the way that program requires. One thing I want to say about this whole Master Pattern Report, people don't really understand, and in some cases appreciate, the amount of time and energy that goes into monitoring this thing and doing analysis. You know, it's not just simply a matter of plugging numbers into the computer and watch what comes out. In some instances, yes, but it all depends on what numbers you select to put in there. Knowing how patterns work, how energy circulates during different periods, and this whole frequency thing is just a wonderful scientific concept, and just matches with economics really well. So I just wanted to inform people who have interest, positive or negative, in the master pattern. Okay. I'm hoping that some of you, I know some of you are, but I'm hoping enough of you are watching these stock selections that we're making, because we feel very confident about the stock selections and where they're going, and we've hardly missed any of these things over the years. I'm very hesitant in making those calls because I'm a cautious person, and I want to be sure about what moves what direction we're moving in. The latest two that let me just give you a rundown on those. The Intec stock is up 10% in the last 3 weeks. It went from 36 something to a little over $40. So it's a little bit more than, well, it's just about 10%, because it was $36 and change, and it's a little over $40. So that's a healthy move, especially if you're playing options like we are. That's a really that's a neat move. Illumina I love that stock, is up 15 points in 3 weeks. That stock went from 193 to actually 210. So it's up more than it's up about 17, near 17 points in a 3-week period of time. And again, although that's a big price stock, if you're playing options like we are, and I know some of you are, man, that's a hell of a return. And we're doing very, very well with those two, as well as playing the NASDAQ, the QQQ, and SPY. Between those four and bouncing around, we're doing damn good. And a comment on the Dow Jones, 23,000. You know, at the beginning of the year, I said we're going to see 24,000 by over the next 4 years, and well, we're not at 24,000. At 20 to move from 20,000 to 23,000 in 10 months. I mean that's significant. We still the patterns are still showing a pullback. We had said September to October. It's not the end of October yet, but let's see what happens with that. That whole pattern move may be in hesitation right now, but I can assure you it's going to happen. And I know some of you have been critical of that call. So what? You know, we stand by the accuracy. You know, I get a kick out of these people where, you know, you make 5 predictions, 4 comes true, and then I get a post or an email that says, "What happened to that prediction? You know, you really screwed up, and you should be eating crow." And well, you know, we eat crow all the time. You know, when I was in real estate. Is sales anyway, sales and consulting. You know, if you, out of 100 chances, if you hit 10%, you were doing great. That's only 100 batting average. That's not very good. But this ain't baseball. This is life, man. So, however, when it came to real estate investing, now you're talking about big hitters. Now you're talking about, you know, we got averages like 950, 960, okay? So I'm not justifying any bad calls. Bad call is a bad call. I still say that this market is going to take a hit pretty soon here, and we'll just wait and see. And if it doesn't, my apologies to those of you who are offended. When I tell you to invest and it turns around the other way, that's something else. Then I really deserve to get bashed. But we haven't done that so far, okay? We're just kind of showing patterns, trying to make people understand the tremendous significance that the master pattern has. Okay. As some of you know, I've told you that I've written 3 books this year. 2 of them are on the science of the master pattern, and one of them is on sort of a biographical, historical presentation of real estate and my life in real estate. From start to finish. Simon & Schuster is, we signed an agreement. Simon & Schuster is doing that book, and we have several, my agent tells me we have several other publishers for the biology of potential, which I'm getting significant feedback from the scientific community, in particular the genetic community and the biology and physics on the merits of the theories presented in that book. which we will be discussing. We're going to have several shows on that. We're doing some professional presentations with various peoples on that and how it leads to the master pattern and prediction. So that's the way it is. A great time to be involved, to be in the fray, in the fight. And talking about the fight, I took my grandson to an Army game against Eastern Michigan this past weekend. Great time. And if you want an example of what leadership is on all levels, whether it's government, institutional, family, social clubs and things of that sort, the service academies are an excellent model. In particular, the leadership credentials that you learn at West Point, and I for those of you who don't know, I taught at West Point. I taught the graduate school there in my earlier days. Their model of leadership, their components were just two: capability and character. Today, it appears that there's a decent amount of capability in many of our leaders. Decent, not the highest, but decent. But character, no way. People back out because they're afraid of being conflicted. They're afraid of being criticized. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid of being put under attack. That's not leadership. No, that's cowardice. That's a lack of virtue. And that's what's missing today. When you want to look at an issue like this whack job down out in Las Vegas, and people are trying to figure out a motive. There may be some crazy motive there that we don't know about, but I can tell you what our patterns are showing. It's showing that this is a result of a very, very, very permissive society where people believe that they're free to do whatever they want because it's a free country, and rules are theirs, not universal rules. And the second part of that whole scenario is that this disgusting need for attention and control and the lack of meritorious decision making that exists today. Again, poor leadership and poor values, not based on virtue. People are making decisions because, as they will tell you, everybody has an opinion, and I'm entitled to mine. Well, that may be the case when you're talking about opinions, but when you're talking about fact, that's not true. That doesn't stand up, and that's one of the failures of today's society, and not only here, but throughout the world. Your other societies that are buttoned up pretty tight, you don't see stuff like this. There's no issue of gun control. Switzerland, Greenland, like the past 100 years, there's been one murder in both of those countries. And they advocate guns. Now, I'm not going to get into a gun control battle here. I'm just telling you that it's the focus on non-virtue, but what people call values. Values people think are good. You may think it's good, but Hitler had values. Your drug dealers have values. Do they have virtue? Reality is not what it appears to be. But I wish you all the best of the weekend. We will definitely see you next week, and we're going to start our frequency frequency countdown next week to incorporation, and we'll see how that works out. Have a great weekend.